Hi everybody, welcome to week 5. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe we are here. Today is all about the hamstrings, which is going to be really fun. It's going to be much slower. So the next couple weeks, they're going to be slower. We're going to be focusing on really targeted parts of the body. You're going to need some props today. You are going to need a strap of some persuasion. Okay, I'm always with my trusty dressing gown belt. And you're going to need your blocks. So get those things handy, get those things ready. And we're going to start lying down on our backs, on our mats. So coming to lie down, letting the head be heavy. Just take the hands onto the belly, feet grounded. Knock the knees in towards each other. They don't have to touch here. And just take a couple of grounding breaths, just arriving on your mat. And this process of coming to the mat, of letting go of your day and becoming more present, should start to be feeling a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier, a little bit more like routine. And hopefully also that you're really looking forward to it as well. So you might have some ideas, some feelings, some reservations when it comes to hamstrings. In yoga, we work a lot on lengthening the hamstrings because most people have tight hamstrings. But you might not realize that we also do loads of strengthening the hamstrings, and all of the sun salutations, all of the standing poses, the vinyasa flow, a lot of these poses, a lot of these balances, they work on strengthening the hamstrings. We've done a lot of lengthening as well, but we're going to be working on some standing and some seated poses that really focus on this elongation of the hamstrings. And there's a lot of alignment points, alignment cues. And I think the most important thing is to let go of any kind of Instagram image or media image that you might have of a yogi. Most of the time, these images of yogis kind of twisted about and in these really extreme positions, it's because of hypermobility. The normal day-to-day kind of person does not have this extreme hypermobility. And so the number one most important thing that you remember is that it is sensation over destination. Okay, so the way a pose feels versus how the pose looks. So just start to flutter the eyes open, start to shuffle the feet in towards each other. And I want you to just send your right leg up to the sky. Good, and just start to point and flex the foot, warming up the ankle. And then start to take that ankle in a few circles, one direction, and then switch it up, start to come the other direction, really starting to massage some movement into that ankle. Nice. And then you're going to bend your knee, interlacing the hands behind the thigh. Okay, now don't try to straighten the leg yet. What I want you to do is start to kick into the heel and send the toes down to the face. We're not pointing the toe, we're flexing. And when we flex the foot, we're going to fire up the hamstring a lot more. Now from here, start to push your thigh back into your hamstring, okay? So pushing the thigh back into the hamstring, this is going to start to straighten the leg. Don't go so much that the foot totally releases. Keep that foot in the flexed position. You can see that my leg is nowhere near straight, but I'll tell you what, for free, I'm getting a very deep hamstring stretch. And if you are wanting to feel into that hamstring right now, poke into the back of your leg. Okay, you should feel a tight muscle, a hard muscle. That's your hamstring. Your hamstring starts at the butt and it ends just beyond the knee. We actually don't have one hamstring. This is sometimes referred to as 4 muscles or 3+1. And the reason for this is that there are 3 hamstring muscles that go the whole length of this butt to knee. And then you have one hamstring that's sort of half of that duration. So I tend to say you've got 4 hamstring muscles. Good, okay, so when we come into these stretches today, your breath is integral, okay? Now this is easier to practice the breath because you're not necessarily moving. So you're gonna work on the inhale, just thinking about length, okay? Nothing, no pushing, no trying to go any further. And as you exhale, you're going to try to elongate the exhale and hold a little bit longer, maybe pushing into the stretch a little bit more. Inhaling, just thinking about breath, length. And as you exhale, just trying to take that stretch a little bit more. We'll just do 5 more breaths like this. Keep kicking into the heel. Don't worry about how straight the leg is. You might notice that the intensity of the stretch also lessens the longer that you hold. Good. And then just start to bend that knee again. Whew. And let that foot come down onto the floor. We'll go straight to the other side. Left leg lifts. Just start to point and flex the foot. Also, don't worry when you lift the leg if the knee is slightly bent. That's fine. Start to roll the ankle one direction. And then the other. Just warming up. And you should feel the hamstring when you move the ankle around as well. You're going to then bend that knee, interlace the fingers, grabbing the back of that thigh, and then flex the foot, okay? Heel going up to the sky, toes towards the face. Then we start to push the meaty bit of the thigh back. This is going to force the leg to straighten, or try to straighten. Woo! Good. Finding that stretch. Again, if you want to feel into that hamstring, just start to give the back of the leg a little poke. Keep the toes dialing down, heel going up to the sky. You might want to close your eyes when you come into these stretches. Nice big inhale. Nice big exhale. Keep kicking into that heel. And this is where we also notice the discrepancies between the two sides. This is an asymmetrical stretch, which means that the legs are doing something different. And therefore you can really start to sense the difference between the mobility, the tightness of those two sides. Good. Rebend that knee. Take a knee in each hand. A little rock from side to side. And then we're going to rock and roll ourselves up and down, either coming up into seated this way or any other way that feels good to you. And you're going to bring yourself into your tabletop position. And we'll just work on a few cat-cows here. So belly dropping, sit bones rising, gazing forwards. Exhaling, pushing the floor away, rounding the back. Nice. Just carry on moving like this. Feeling into the body, feeling into the breath. Warming up the spine. Nice. Come back to tabletop. We're going to tuck our right toe, drag it along the mat, kick into the heel. We're just going to hold this hamstring stretch here. So you're driving the heel backwards. You might push so hard that that front knee lifts. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees back onto the floor. Switch to the other side. Left toe tucks. Drag that toe behind you, kicking into that heel. Again, you might push so much that that front knee lifts. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop those knees back down. We're going to tuck our toes, getting ready for that downward dog. Push into the hands. Send the bum up to the sky. Look at the hands first. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Let the head go. Soft bend those knees. Push into the hands so that the butt comes higher, belly comes closer to those thighs. Good. Now from here, keep your right knee bent. And I want you to send your left heel to the floor. And we're going to hold this for 5. Feel into that hamstring stretch for 4. Keep sending the bum higher for 3, 2, 1. Switch it up. Right heel comes down. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bend both knees, then press both heels towards the floor. Keep pushing into the hands. Don't feel like you have to totally straighten the legs. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Looking forwards. We're going to walk the feet towards the hands. Come as far as you can. You might come halfway and then walk the hands depending on the hamstring length. From here, keep the fingertips on the floor. And just try to straighten the legs as much as you can, lifting that heart forwards. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's rise all the way up. Hands come up to the sky. And then bringing the hands by the side, finding Tadasana. Good. Take a moment here. Press into the whole circumference of the foot so you're not rolling to one side or the other. Not locking out the kneecaps. Lengthening the crown of the head up. Good. Okay, from here, hands lift high. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, fingertips on the floor. Try to straighten the legs as much as you can. And then exhale, fold. Okay, so we're going to come into a pose called Pada Gustasana. Pada is your foot, and Gushta, okay, is your toe, okay? So you're going to take your first two fingers around your big toe so that your first two fingers are coming between the big toe and the second toe, and you're curling under. Now, I don't want you to think about having straight legs here. I want you to bend your knees totally and get your belly and your chest connected to those thighs. Look forwards, and then you're going to slowly start to dive the head down. Elbows are going to come out to the sides, and you're going to pull on those big toes to try to bring the head down. What I don't want you to do is just straighten the legs so that your whole belly and chest come off the thighs. Keep a connection like a sandwich so you're not losing that connection. You're sucking belly and thighs towards each other. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, try to pull more of the belly over those thighs. Try to bring the head closer to the floor and try to push your thigh back into your hamstring. You should really feel this in the backs of the legs. And again, we're going to hold this for 5. 4. Doesn't matter how bent the knees are. Sensation over destination. Nice. Release the toes. Take the weight into the heels. Press the hands into the shins. Inhale, look forwards. Exhale, fold. Press into the heels. Inhale all the way back up to the top. And then bring the hands down by the sides. Find a little Tadasana. Find your breath. Good. Okay. We're going to do a similar pose to Pada Gustasana, but we're going to come into Pada Hastasana. If you're wearing big rings, I might suggest that you take those big rings off for this pose. So let's come in like we did before. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, fingertips on the floor, flat back as much as you can. Exhale, fold. So this time, we're going to slide our hands underneath our feet as much as we can. The goal is to get the toes into the crease of the wrist. Then super glue belly and chest to the thighs again. As you exhale, let the head come down and try to send the bum up to the sky again. This is a deeper hamstring stretch. If this is uncomfortable on the hands at all, guys, you don't need to do it. You can come back into Pada Gustasana, holding onto the toes. I quite like the feeling of the massage on my hands, and I kind of wiggle my toes around in this pose. Really try to dive the head down. And when you get more confident in this pose, you actually try to take the weight into the toes and the ball of the foot. Good. 3 more breaths here. Nice. Start to release the hands. Take the hands onto the shins. Halfway lift. Folding as you exhale. Inhaling, hands come high. And then hands come down to heart center, finding that Tadasana again. Breathing here. Good. Okay, fluttering the eyes open, grabbing your blocks. So, taking the blocks to the top of the mat, we're going to work on some dynamic stretching. So coming in and out of the poses and feeling into the hamstrings. And what we want is the intensity of the stretch to lessen the more that we come in and out of the poses. So coming into Tadasana, hands come high up to the sky. As you exhale, hinge, bring the hands onto the blocks. Good. From here, inhale, really press into the backs of the thighs, lengthen, send the tailbone long, grow the crown of the head forwards. Exhale, fold, bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Good. Do 3 more like this. Inhale, lengthen, really squeeze the thighs, dial the tailbone back, grow through the crown of the head. Exhale, fold. 2 more. Use your own breath. Inhale inhaling to the top here. Now, as we exhale, we're going to step back with our left leg and drop our knee. Now, you can see my arms are really far forward, so I'm actually going to take my blocks back so that my blocks come underneath my shoulders. Good. Now, sink forwards, get the blocks in the right position, and I want you to just find some length here. So you might come onto the fingertips, pull the heart forward, so we're in a low lunge, okay? Low lunge, finding that stretch in the front or in the back hip on the front of that hip. Now, as you exhale, you're going to start to sit the butt back, flexing that front foot. So I'm going to move this block out of the way so you can see. This is called runner's lunge. Really deep hamstring stretch. You're pulling the toes up to the face, and what you're going to notice is that your right hip is going to want to sneak forward. So as you come into this, you want to pull your right hip back. Okay, why does this lengthen the stretch? Well, remember, your hamstring starts here. So if the heel is forwards, if we pull the hip forwards, the stretch isn't as intense. Where, think of this whole line as an elastic band. If I pull my hip back, the elastic band stretches more. So finding that runner's lunge, pulling the hip back, breathing through it. Good, so we're gonna move in and out of low lunge and runner's lunge 5 times. So inhale, come forwards, pull the chest forwards, maybe come onto the tips of the fingers. Exhale, drive that right hip back, flex the toes. Don't worry if the leg doesn't totally straighten either. Inhale forwards, really dial the heart forwards. Exhale, drive that right hip back, right hip back, right hip back. Good, 3 more. Every time thinking about growing, lengthening that elastic band. Last one. Good, and then we're going to stay in runner's lunge. Now, if your hamstring is warmed up and you don't feel as much of a stretch, you can take your blocks lower. Keep sending the toes up towards the face. Lengthen the head, okay? So grow through the spine and imagine that your heart was going to come up and over that front knee. Good. Start to come back onto the foot. Drive the blocks forwards. Tuck back toe. Lift back knee. Step forward straight into that halfway fold. Exhale, dive down. Good. 5 more like this. Maybe trying to keep the legs a little bit straighter so that when you fold over those legs, whoo, you're getting that hamstring stretch. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, diving down. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, diving down. Last one. Good. Inhale, lift up. Left foot stays put. Step back with right. Drop that right knee. Bring those hands back. Find that low lunge. Remember that if your knee is overshooting your ankle, you want to walk that foot slightly forwards. Come onto the tips of the fingers. Shine that heart forwards. And then as we exhale, we're going to drive our left hip back. Flex that front foot. So toes going forward. You can see my knees slightly bent here. Pull your left hip back. Just finding this runner's lunge on the other side. Noticing if maybe the stretch is a little bit more intense or less intense. Breathing here. Okay, let's find those dynamic stretches moving in and out. Inhale forwards, fingertips on the block, shine that heart forwards, bending that front knee. Exhale, really focus on driving, left hip back, right hip forwards, pull toes to the face. Good, 4 more, use your own breath. And the next time that you come back into that runner's lunge, we're going to hold. So once you come into it, maybe if you want to, taking the blocks lower, feel free to keep them up nice and high. Driving left hip back, right hip forwards, pulling that heart forwards, lengthening the crown of the head up to the sky, pulling the toes towards the face. Nice deep breaths. Good. Place that foot back onto the floor, tuck back toe, raise back knee, walk the blocks forwards, and then step that right foot to meet it. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find length. Keep right foot where it is. Step back with the left and then walk the hands so that they're underneath the shoulders. So stay high on the ball of the back foot, maybe softly bending that back knee, drive right hip back. Now, lengthen the heart forward. So we're in this low lunge with our hands on the blocks. Good. From here, we're going to start to straighten out our front leg. And we're going to bow over that front leg. So coming in and out of pyramid pose. Inhale, heart comes forwards. Exhale, bow. Really push into that front foot. Pull that right hip back. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. This time when we come into it, you're going to hold, bowing over that front leg. Stay high on the ball of the back foot. Can you pull your right hip back, left hip forwards? Feeling that stretch a little bit more. Whoo! Breathe deep. Look forwards, bend that front knee. Take the block slightly forward. Step left foot forwards. Inhale, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Good. 3 more. Maybe trying to keep those legs a little bit straighter every time you fold over them. Inhale, lift. This time, right foot steps back. Bring the blocks under your shoulders. Stay high on the ball of your back foot. Pull right hip forward, left hip back. Inhale, lift the heart, finding that lunge. Exhale, press into that front foot, dive over that leg. Nice. Use your breath. This is also a really great chance to practice that moving with the breath. Every time you straighten that leg, I really want you to be driving right hip forwards, pulling left hip back. Use the breath. Nice. This time when you fold into that pyramid, you're going to hold, press through the whole front foot, drive right hip forwards, left hip back, lengthen the crown of the head towards the floor. Breathe. So important to breathe in these stretches. It tells the stretch reflexes to relax. And therefore we can find more space in the pose. If we don't slow the breath down, we tell the body we're in danger. We stay in what's called the sympathetic nervous system and we don't get anywhere. Nice, bend the knee, take the blocks forwards, step that back foot forwards, inhale, find length, exhale, fold over those legs, move the blocks so that they're in front of you and out of the way, and bring the knees down onto the floor. Good, take the toes together, sit the butt back, find a little child's pose. Couple of nice deep breaths here. Good. Then we're going to pull ourselves up and we're actually going to come all the way down onto the belly. So dropping onto the belly here. Let's start with elbows just on the mat for a moment. So the back side of the body is called your posterior chain. Okay, the back body is the posterior, the front body is the anterior, and your hamstrings are part of your posterior. We've been working on lengthening the hamstrings. But what we're going to do now is working on strengthening the hamstrings, okay? So we're going to use that muscle. So what I want you to do is just bring yourself down and bring your forehead onto your hands. So stacking the hands. Bring the legs as close together as you can. And then take an inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can lift your right leg off the mat. Keep the forehead down. If you're not sure, take a look at me. And then slowly bring that right foot back down. Take an inhale. As you exhale, can you get that left foot off the floor? Don't bend the knees here. You want to keep the leg totally straight. Bring the leg back down. Nice. Inhale to prep.
Exhale, right leg lifts. Good. This time, start to take a little pulse at the top. So tiny little pulse. We're going to pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the leg. Give the hips a little shake, just in case you got any kind of cramping. Inhale to prep. Exhale, left leg lifts. Once it's lifted, keep the legs straight. Let's start to take those little pulses. Pulsing for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Lower the leg onto the floor. Zip the legs towards each other. Point both toes. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, can you lift both legs off the mat? Then we're going to pulse the legs in and out. So pulsing in and out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let the legs come down. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, push yourself up, and we are actually going to flip ourselves over onto our backs. So coming to lie down, take the feet, the heels nice and close to the bum, and bring the hands down by the sides of the waist. Alrighty, so continuing with strengthening, we're now going to have the posterior side of the body on the floor, and we're going to use the posterior to lift. So we're coming in and out of bridge poses. I don't really care how high we come into the bridge. What bridge pose is using is the glutes, glute max, and the hamstrings, okay? So the backs of those legs. So hands on the floor, take an inhale, and as you exhale, press the heels into the floor, squeeze the butt and lift. Nice, and then gently lower back down. Good, take an inhale. As you exhale, press into the heels, lift. Good, and then lower back down. Nice, I want you to do 5 more. If you can only get this high off the floor, that's totally fine. Try to keep the toes, including the big toe, from lifting off the floor. So press all the toes down. And when you come to the very top, doesn't matter how high you can lift, okay? It might be really low, you might be able to come quite high. Squeeze the muscles and then lower back down. Last 2. Good, last 1. Come to the top wherever you are, hold for 10, 9, 8, keep those toes down, 7, make sure you're breathing, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower. Once you've lowered, take a knee in each hand and just gently rock from side to side, just relieving any tension. Alrighty, so coming into our laying on the back hamstring stretches, these are really lovely because they're quite passive, they're quite relaxing, and the strap does all the work. So we're going to start with our right leg to the sky. What I want you to do is keep your left leg bent for now. So bending your right leg, bringing that foot up, placing the strap on the ball of the foot, and let the leg come forward so you can easily straighten it. Walk your hands up the strap until the arms are totally straight. Then start to kick into the heel, toes dialing down to the face. Now you should maybe start to feel the hamstring stretch. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, just gently start to guide the leg towards you. Now don't bend the knee to get the leg very far. Remember, it's sensation over destination. So leg is straight, kicking into the heel, toes towards the face, and we're just going to slow the breath down. Nice big inhale, exhale. Good. Now, notice what's happening in your face. If you are starting to contort the face and you can barely breathe, let the tension go a bit. We want to be able to breathe easily. We want to be able to smile easily, but we want to feel the stretch as well. So you're not kind of killing yourself. You know, it's a nice stretch, lengthening the hamstring. Every time you exhale, maybe trying to guide that foot a little bit further forwards. Whatever works for you. And also, don't worry if your leg's all the way out here, okay? That's totally fine. Obviously, I've been practicing yoga for a very long time, so I can get my leg quite far. But still, in comparison to many hypermobile yogis, they can get their leg, coming all the way over here. That's not the case for me. Nice. From here, stay where you are. You're going to take the strap completely into your right hand.
And then you're going to start to let your right leg come out to the side. Now your leg might be down here, that's fine. Once it's as far as it feels comfortable, keep your left butt cheek down. You're going to start to tease the toes towards the ear. Again, you might barely move. You might be able to bring that foot quite far. Just go to a place that works for you and breathe. Inhale to find length. Exhale, seeing if you can bring it a little bit closer. I really recommend doing these stretches as often as you can, maybe while you're watching TV. Guide the leg back to center. Take the strap into your left hand, and I want you to straighten your left leg. Then you're going to start to guide that leg out to the side. Now I've got a wall here, so I'm not going to be able to come that far. Maybe I'll move away from the wall slightly. Now you're going to feel the stretch in the butt, and you're going to feel it in the hamstring. Come as far as you feel comfortable. You might even lengthen out that right arm. And then again, you might pull the toes up. Just go to a place where you can breathe. This can be quite an intense stretch. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Good. Okay, bring the leg back to center. Pull that leg again just for 5 breaths towards you. Both arms as straight as you can get. Flex that foot. Really, really nice, relaxed breaths. And then you're going to take the strap off the foot, slowly lower the leg, and see how much longer your right leg feels than your left. You can have a little peek if you want. It's some weird magic, but you will feel a lot longer in that right leg. So let's make sure we don't leave lopsided today. So you're going to bring your left leg up to the sky. I like to have my right knee bent, but you might feel comfortable with the right leg straight. Again, let that leg come forwards. Straighten the leg, toes dialed down to the face, kicking into the heel. Inhale, find length, and then exhale, start to guide that leg. So for me, my left leg is tighter. Again, taking note for yourself, which side feels tighter. Is it the right? Is it the left? Slowing that breath down. Make sure that you're not contorting the face. Make sure that you can breathe. If you're finding either of those things quite difficult, I want you to just send the leg further forward so it's less intense, okay? It doesn't have to kill you. Good. Strap goes into the left hand. You might take your right hand onto your right hip and start to let that leg come out to the side. So I'll just show you with my other leg. So legs coming out to the side, kicking into that heel, going as far as you feel comfortable, maybe pulling the toes towards the face. Your leg also might be down here. So you're getting a hip opener at the same time. Keep kicking into that heel, keep breathing. Nice long inhales and exhales, calming the nervous system. Good. Bringing that left leg back to the center, and you're going to straighten out your right leg. So getting that right leg out of the way. Strap is going to go into the right hand, left hand out to the side, and slowly start to drop that leg. You might need to send that leg forwards. Kick into the heel. Deep inhale, and as you exhale, start to pull. Now, if your left shoulder is totally lifting off the floor, don't take the leg so low. Maybe you're here. You can let your left ear soften to your left shoulder as well if that feels good. Just finding that stretch. Good. Really elongating all the way from that glute to the heel. Gently bringing that leg back up. All right, so one more with that leg straight, kicking into that heel, pulling the toes towards you. Don't worry how far you go. Nice slow exhales. Anytime you come into these stretches, You want nice, slow, focused exhales. And then moving that strap off the foot, nice and slowly letting that leg come down, moving the strap away from you. And just for a moment, feel into the legs. Maybe they're feeling slightly longer, slightly easier. Notice how the lower back feels. You can get a lot of back pain from tight hamstrings, a lot of front hip pain from tight hamstrings. And from here, we're just going to negotiate our way into our Shavasana. So palms of the hands face up, maybe slightly tucking the shoulders underneath us, slight tuck of the chin. If you need to, bend the knees, otherwise keep the legs nice and straight. Just letting every part of the body become heavy. All of the activation that we've been doing the whole class just starts to drift away, and we soften into the mat. Staying here as long as you'd like. And when you feel like it's a natural time to move and get up, feel free to take yourself out. But for now, just drift away into your corpse pose.